Now, when it comes to the deadlift, what we're essentially talking about is a lifting exercise. So why is the deadlift so important for lower back pain? One, because it's the lifting technique. So whether you've got lower back pain or not, you're probably going to need to either bend down and lift something back up, or you're going to need to lift something off the floor, whatever it may be. So it's important that when we do this exercise, we need to understand when are better times to do it and when are worse times to do it. So with regards to the exercise, what we're talking about is standing over a weight and lifting it up. Now, it could be a couple of shopping bags that we would go down and lift it up like so. So when we're talking about the deadlift, that's the movement that we're talking about. Now, there are a few times when, or depending on the type of back pain that you've got, will depend on what you need to do. So if you've got what's known as flexion intolerance in your spine, so you've got a spine that doesn't like to be flexed over like that. So that could be from sitting a lot, could be in the office chair, could be in the car. Certain exercises that involve flexion aggravate your lower back. The obvious one is to maintain this proper position. So you would go down, maintain the proper position, and then lift the weights up. So that's sort of like modification number one, is to maintain that neutral posture. So what you're not doing is you're not going into that position which aggravates your lower back. You're able to maintain and lift the weight, or maintain the position, lift the weight up. Now, if you can't get down far enough to pick something up, if it's an exercise, it's much easier to do this. You would just raise the weights up. So what you would do, you would stand over them like I am, but you would have them a little bit higher, and you would only go down as far as you could to maintain that position. So that's sort of modification number two, if you will, is just to lift the weights up. If you aren't able to lift the weights up, you've got another modification. You could come down into this position, but now you can bend your knees, and that will get you down a little bit further. So you haven't gone further into the hip hinge, which is then going to flex your spine. What you're doing is you're going down and using the knees a little bit more. So you're turning more of like that hip hinge movement into more of a squat movement. So that's again another modification that can be used. The other modification is very simple. It's just to use a lighter weight to be able to lift. So that's even if it is shopping bags, just spread the load into other shopping bags and don't lift sort of 2 very heavy shopping bags, lift 4 slightly lighter shopping bags, if that makes sense, or at least lift them and carry them as well. So you've got those types of modifications that you can go through, but that's if you've got what's known as a flexion intolerant spine. So if you've got a spine that doesn't like to be flexed, those are some modifications that you can go through to adapt an exercise, or even just adapt everyday movement.